Hey guys, it's Dami here from Clientele Boosters, and today we're going to be talking about how to increase the quality of your friendship circle. Now, if you want to know who I am, 24 years old, I've been running this agency for now 5 years as of June. We started in June 2019, so happy birthday to Clientele Boosters. But friendships has been a really crucial thing that I'm still learning, but I've also learned a bit about. This one's going to be nice and short, but it's really crucial that you take action after hearing the steps in this video, because you will not be able to change this, because the habits that you already have when it comes to friendships are going to be very, very tough to break if you don't take aggressive and rapid action, okay? So the first thing you'll need to do, or at least you could do, is change your location. So CB, name of our agency, location. So when I was 21 years old, I moved out of the house. I was 21, I was living in the western suburbs of Melbourne. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've been doing this agency thing for a year and a half. The cough was, for most of 2020. And I felt like I just had to outgrow where I was, living and the environment that I had. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a risk. I actually just at the time was working for an SEO agency in Abbotsford. So I think it was the eastern side of Melbourne. And the week before I was about to move out, I actually got fired from my job. So I'm like, all right, I've just got the agency's income to rely on. And I'm like, I'll just have to figure this out. Well, whatever, it's all good. I move in. Fortunately, I was able to find another job relatively quickly. But my roommate at the time was a guy that I actually met through another friend at a birthday party in 2019. But anyway, I won't go too deep into that. By 2023, so 2 years after I had moved out, which was the start of 2021, I started to attract a lot more people that were focused on business, that were in the event scene, that were in the crypto space, or had their own NFT projects, or also were people in their late teens or early 20s that had their own businesses because they had also moved out and took that risk on themselves. So a lot of these guys were also slightly more mature than a lot of my friends in high school because they'd had to pay rent. They'd had to learn how to survive on their own. They'd had to assert themselves. They'd had to wake up at X a.m. or some time of the morning to make sure that they can, get their groceries and come back and get some sleep and clean up the house. And, I have a great family. So these were things that I was somewhat, ignorant to. And the great thing of that was by the time it was 2023, I not only had been able to grow my agency after working with politicians and celebrities and, Forbes members, but what I also was able to do was be able to create a network of people that actually helped me even, have other businesses that I'm connected to. One is an event/nightclub. One is a production company that's generated over 1 billion views online with no ads. So that was largely a proponent of me moving to a new area because it actually created new stimuli. And stimuli, I think it's Robert Greene, he talks about this in Mastery. One thing you should do if you realize you're stagnant, and I might be misquoting him here, is to actually change your appearance or your location. And the appearance thing is interesting because when you change your appearance, you actually want people to see you. It's ironic. So for example, I've done my hair recently. I'm not sure if you guys think it's cool. I think it's great. When I've done a new hairdo, I'm more, at least unconsciously inclined to have it be seen, right? So it's new stimuli. So the great thing about when you move away from where you were raised, you're around more stimuli. And it makes you want to, meet new people because you can now redesign who you want to be. So that's number one, location. Number two, and this is going to be a bit controversial, and I say this with a pinch of salt, nightclubs. So here's what I mean by nightclubs. So obviously, many people go to nightclubs for a variety of reasons, many not business related. Fine, I agree, fair, we're on the same page. But I have been able to close some excellent deals from people that I met at nightclubs, and I'll tell you why. Where are the places that most tourists, or at least people in their 20s or 30s, are going to go to on a weekend, especially if they're traveling from, other parts of, in my situation, Australia? I'll have people from Perth, Sydney, Adelaide, and they'll go to certain streets in Melbourne. And oftentimes those streets are the ones that have the most bars, the most nightclubs, because they want to, detach from the workspace for a second, get some nice food, meet some new people, etc. So the benefit of nightclubs is, especially if you, of course, do it intentionally, which I know many of you won't, but I'll say it anyway. If you're intentional about it, once a week or even once a fortnight, you can actually meet, 5 to 10 new people. And one of those 10 new people might become a new client. One of those 10 new people might become a new employee. One of those 10 people might become on your show. I've had so many people that I have met from nightclubs end up on my production company. And then they refer more of their friends and more of their friends and more of their friends. Or I've had people that maybe couldn't afford our services, but they're like, mate, I have a mate who owns a construction business. Oh, I have a friend that lives in the city. He does real estate. I'd love you to get in touch. And I had one promoter in one of my events / nightclubs. And she brought her mother, who was from a different state in Australia, to the VIP room, etc. So we were chilling, talking. And the mother was, fascinated by myself, because at the time I was 23, and her daughter was like, oh, like, I know Dami, and like, he's doing all these things at once. I don't know how he does it. Me and her end up getting a conversation. And within 1 week, her mother signs up as a client because her mother wanted help with her personal brand. Who would have thought that a promoter, right, that I met again in the event / nightclub business that was working for me, now refers her mother to be a client, right? Mind-boggling. So tactically, I would say number 2, nightclubs can be very impactful, especially if you're a bit younger, but even if you're older. The third thing, to keep this video nice and short, is business events. So this one's pretty obvious, and I wanted to intentionally talk about things in the physical and not in the online, because, I'm a Gen Z. Many people are already, in Discord groups or Facebook groups, which is fantastic. But I do think there is an element or an importance or emphasis that should be put on communicating with people face to face, meeting new people. So I did want to talk about things that were more, in the physical and not so much on a Zoom or Google Meets meeting. So biz events are great, and for obvious reasons. Now, when I was 19 years old, one of the first business events that I went to, or 18 years old, or 18 or 19, was I went to a TEDx event in Docklands in Melbourne. And I was probably the youngest there, easily. I was so awkward, introverted, shy. I was but I just was like, I'm just going to get out of my comfort zone. I just want to take pictures of people, and, whatever comes of it, comes of it. And it was fantastic. I've got an interview, get this. I have an interview on Monday with someone that I met at this event 5 years ago. How crazy is that, right? And he knows who he is. You guys will see that podcast on Monday. He's actually like one of the world memory champions in all of Australia. I think 3 or 4 times. And he just kept in touch with me. I've kept in touch with him. He's seen my progress since I was 19 and I'm 24. So the great thing about business events is people, even if they are just starting out, like myself back then, or who didn't even have a business, or they are of experience, you are kind of aligned on that frequency of curiosity. And curiosity is one of the most powerful drivers when it comes to growing in business, because the more curious you are, the more you're able to stay ahead of the curve. So you're going to be around people that are as intrigued as you are to learn more about X topic at this business event. And I can tell you, if you look and take the advice from my networking video and how to network with 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs that you can find in our video catalog, then merging these 3, but particularly number 3, with that video, you're going to be so lethal. That is why I have hundreds, if not thousands, of entrepreneurs in my Google folder that have had somewhat of a frequent contact with me 3 or 4 times a year. Okay? So guys, these are 3 quick things that you can do to improve the quality of your friendships. 1, change your location, get some new stimuli. 2, go to nightclubs and meet other like-minded people that kind of are at your vibration, or at least, just meet them, because you're increasing the odds of finding more people, because, people are coming to that location. And then number 3, biz events. You're meeting other people at the same vibration. I've got friends, a lot of my friends are a little bit older than me, and I've got some great acquaintances / probably borderline friends that are in their 30s, because we just talk the same language, okay? So guys, implement these 3 things, and I think you'll notice some pretty cool changes. Otherwise, click the link below, check out the Skool groups, check out the Mega Community Consulting if you want to learn more about what we do. And of course, like, subscribe, comment, share, and think mega. Much love. Bye-bye.